morning, everyone. My name is Aruquipa. I'm PhD candidate in the University of Buenos Aires. Actually, I research in the Centro de Investigación, Desarrollo e Innovación en Ingeniería Mecatrónica en La Paz, Bolivia. The co-author is Fabio Diaz, who is the research header from this research center. So, today we are presenting a work about control systems in manufacturing systems. In this way, we are working in different fields of IoT and decentralized control. Then I can start explain you how it's necessary to develop new approach for the control systems and explore different solutions. So if you see the art state of the control systems in manufacturing systems, you can see the new approaches on IoT, big data, and different type of technologies. Additionally, the complexity of all of this data and different systems for different process make a sense of a heart of complex systems in manufacturing systems. In this way, around the last decades was proposed different types of approach or paradigms such as holonic manufacturing, fractal manufacturing, and bio-inspired manufacturing. In this way, bio-inspired adaptive manufacturing was recently proposed for an author the last year, in 2020. Additionally, when we are talking about the anomaly detection, this is a common problem in the industries using temperature, vibration sensors, and another type of sensor, such as images or in the same way level or whatever. So it is necessary, it's commonly used as prediction systems to make forecasting or to control. But in this case, we are using to make anomaly detection. So I can show you this graph. This is extracted from the book Bio-Inspired Control Systems, published the last year. This book you can find in the bibliography from the document, and it is interesting to see this type of document and exactly this graph, because we can see how the author proposed in his work an approach of decentralized control. It is interesting to see this because he trying to explain you how our manufacturing system can work, such as a body system. So you can you imagine how your plant, your industry can work similarly to a human body, with the adaptation, with a system to inference. Everything is possible. So he is proposing this type of work, and so this work was published in 2020, and we are trying to make an approximation with IoT systems. And additionally, in this work, it is proposed a model based on Neuroendocrine Model, which is used to make an adaptation. So the author shows a model with this using a cell for each cell of manufacturing, and you have a principal controller or floor controller. It is not really a principal; it is a high-level controller. And you have devices to skew the signals, to modify the environment. So this is our first model used for this approach. And if you see in this image, you can see how we are trying to approach this type of model or this type of control with an IoT system. So we are using cheaper components to be easy to reproduce this concept. Principally, if you see the figure 1, you can see a principal controller with this the shop floor controller. So in this case, this is used to detect anomalies between all of the cell controllers. In this case, we are using 2 microcontrollers. One is a particle photon, and the other is the common SP8266. So what can we try to make in this case? So we have 2 belt conveyors. So we are trying to adapt the belt conveyor to different situations. For example, when you have a lot of payload, so you need increase the velocity, because you can see how it's necessary, you need to see how it's necessary improved the velocity. And in the same way, it's necessary observe the temperature constantly to see if it is a problem or if it's necessary to fix something else. Yeah, whatever. So in this way, we are using an accelerometer, a motor, which is the motor from the belt conveyors, and a temperature. This is for each cell, so we are using 2 cells for this experiment. And in this way, we are using this model to have a feedback with acceleration according to the model from the author to obtain a good result for the adaptation. Then what can we see here? So in the principal controller of anomaly detector, firstly we have a inference motor, which is provided by these equations. These equations are extracted or was focused from the model of bio-inspired adaptive systems. What means these equations? It is easy because we need to implement this type of equation if we need in long systems or with a lot of cells. So we can implement this controller with high scale systems. Then we are trying to obtain the deviation of the velocity between the first time and the second time, and we have a signal comparison such as a neuron, for example, or neuronal function, and with that we have a regulation function with the capacity to generate a result. In this way, we are using to generate the result of velocity or PWM for the cell controller. That is the principal function for this principal inference motor, principally. But in this way, if we see the graph from the authors, we need to have 3 principal components in this case: the sensor and actuators, the cell controllers, and the principal controllers. All of these is regulated by an hormone regularization, which is a characters. It is if you see there, you have different beats which helps to give a response to the cell controllers from the first controller according to the anomaly detector. All of these components are combined or are used using a MQTT and using a broker, and was implemented using Node-RED, which is the most quickly way. And yeah, it is the first approximation. And in this way, for every controller who we need to have a reproducibility, we are using state machines. So we are using a state machine based in the temperature and the signal regulator for the acceleration or the velocity in this case. So what can we see here? Firstly, the temperature, it is a constant. So if the temperature is so high, it is necessary stopped. So this is one condition, or the signal regulator in this case. If the signal regulator obtain a value minus of 10%, it is necessary to have a velocity. We maintain the velocity in 50% if it's necessary, or we can change according to the requirements. And in another way, if the signal regulator have more than 20%, minus more than 20% and minus of 50%, so we need to increase the velocity until to the anomaly will be 1. So every time the anomaly is measured, if we have anomaly, so yeah, this is the reason we need to improve this way. Yeah. So one more, for the inference motor, we are using before to apply the motor inference with autoencoders. So the autoencoders are using to detect the anomalies based on recurrent neuronal networks. So we are using 10 points or each frame to see what is the anomaly. So we train this type of anomaly detector with that type of data. So what more? We are using 2,000 frames for training. So for all of the data. So the 80% was used to train and 20% to test the data, and after that we are applying the anomaly. So it is not necessary high levels of data because it is repetitive also. The most important it is when we are trying to train the algorithm or the neuronal network. we need training. If we have different anomalies detected, so we need to train with that type of anomalies. But in this case, we use only different ways, and we found that that type of anomalies. So what more? A neural network is used for this. So we are using an MPU6050 sensor. We can use most complex sensors, but the objective to this work is the reproducibility. That is the reason why we are using cheaper components, and we are not using high-level hardware. Then, what can we see from the anomaly detector from this work? So, if we see here, we can see the signal skew rate, which is processed in the time domain, and we can find a threshold which is obtained, but with the Inference Motor or with LSTM neural networks, and we can detect anomalies. Yeah, that is the process for this step. And although there is the detection of anomalies in the motor, even if there are false positives, that must be taken into account. So we need to be careful with that, and we are trying to see filters to obtain a best result, and be careful with these results in real time. So when we are experimenting with this data, so we can see in this model, with the LSTM, we have the best results with an accuracy of 90%, around 90%, and with a precision of 89%. So it is a good result. So we try to apply GRU and bidirectional LSTM, but we can see false positive and not good results. So we see LSTM is the very best result, but additionally we can improve this with reinforcement learning or with another technique to improve the results. So the confusion matrix in this case show the good results with LSTM. This is a confusion matrix for LSTM algorithm. So if you see here, we don't have a high percent of false positives or false negatives. So it is okay, and we see this in the we saw this in the implementation. Additionally, we observe the what can I say you the time of the process of the algorithm from each part. So in this image, it is available in the paper. We can see, for example, how the state machine is the most high or most long time with need a processing. So it is a bottleneck to the system. So that is the reason we make this, because we see what is the worst place where we need to improve the velocity to have a real system control for multi-control system, or decentralized control. And yeah, we can see the communication system is relatively high because we are using MQTT and a neural network, and a wireless network. And this way it is we can improve this with different techniques. But it is not apart from our work. And yeah, we can synchronize in the same way the treats or embedded systems or use embedded system more complex embedded systems such as RTOS, for example. Yeah, the experimentation was used was implemented to see, for example. So you can see here one of the two belt conveyors. So we use prototyped belt conveyor to do this experiment. We use two, was the same, and we developed an interface to show the real time in this process. So we see here, for example, how it is necessary in this interface have a good response. So we are using callbacks, and we are using the best techniques to obtain our good results, such as asynchronous fusions in Python, because the interface was designed in Python to have the facility to connect with the model trained with TensorFlow. Yep. Additionally, to finish, you can see the code after this presentation in this repository. This is the reason why we are presenting this paper, because we are putting all of the code and the support to have a good reproducibility of this experiment if it is necessary in the future. So, in conclusion, we are presenting an approximation of this new approach presented the last year for the author, and we are trying to see what is the best result, or what can we see in these different points, such as the Inference Motor and the communication with IoT or the embedded system. The best advice from you to whatever who wants implement this system is use RTOS for the embedded system, because it is mandatory, I think, because if you don't apply or if you don't improve this bottleneck, you can have a good real-time system. Yeah, thank you for your attention, and I will be happy to to receive whatever message if it's necessary. Thank you.